Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Christ the royal master leads against the foe, forward into battle, see his banners go. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Oh, for a faith that will not shrink, though pressed by every foe, that will not tremble on the brink of any earthly woe, that will not murmur or complain beneath a chastening rod, but in the hour of grief or pain will lean upon its God. A faith that shines more bright and clear when tempest rage without, that when in danger knows no fear, in darkness feels no doubt. Lord, give us such a faith as this, and then whate'er may come, we'll taste and hear the hallowed bliss of an eternal home. A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never-dying soul to save, and fitted for the sky, to serve the present age, my calling to fulfill. Oh, may it all my powers engage to do my Master's will. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live, and O thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give. Help me to watch and pray, and on thyself rely. Assured if I my trust betray, I shall forever die. Rise up, O men of God, have done with lesser things. Give heart and mind and soul and strength to serve the King of Kings. Rise up, O men of God, his kingdom tarries long. Bring in the day of brotherhood and end the night of wrong. Rise up, O men of God, the church for you doth wait. Her strength unequal to her task, rise up and make her great. Lift high the cross of Christ, tread where his feet have trod. As brothers of the Son of Man, rise up, O men of God. It's not nice. Good evening. Let's edify one another, shall we? And that is indeed our effort to do every evening edification, built right into the name. How y'all doing today? Good to have you with us. It's a chilly night here, very cold. Supposed to get into the negative temperatures. Well, at least that's what it's supposed to feel like. We're going to be about 12 degrees with wind chills and stuff down below zero. It's going to be cold. Walk with me, lest mine eyes no longer see all the glory, all the story of your love. Talk to me, like you spoke so tenderly when you talked there, when you walked there by the sea. Let me follow in the footsteps that trod the shore of Galilee. Let me learn to pray like he did in the garden of Gethsemane. Take my hand, teach me, Lord, to understand all my duty, all the beauty of your love. Talk with me, lest mine ears no longer hear all the wonder, all the beauty of your grace. Walk with me, as you walked so lovingly when you walked there, when you talked there by the sea. Let me follow in the footsteps that trod the shore of Galilee. Let me learn to pray like he did in the garden of Gethsemane. Take my hand, teach me, Lord, to understand all my duty, all the beauty of your love. Good evening, Carol and Maureen. Good to see you with me. How you all doing tonight? Break thou the bread of life, dear Lord, to me. As thou didst break the loaves beside the sea, beyond the sacred day, I seek thee, Lord. My spirit pants for thee, O living Word. Bless thou the truth, dear Lord, to to me. As thou didst bless the bread by Galilee, then shall all bondage cease, all fetters fall, and I shall find my peace, my all in all. Good evening, Donnie. Good to see you as well. How are you doing, my friend? There's a particular theme that I am structuring toward in these songs. Maybe you can figure it out, guess it as we go. How shall the young secure their hearts and guard their lives from sin? Thy word, the choicest rules in parts to keep the conscience clean, to keep the conscience clean. 'Tis like the sun of heavenly light, and that guides us all the day. And through the dangers of the night, a lamp to lead our way, a lamp to lead our way. Thy word is everlasting truth, how pure is every page. That holy book shall guide our youth and well support our age, and well support our age. Good morning, Sam. Good to see you as well. And one more song. Or maybe two. Let's see. Guide me, O thou great Jehovah, pilgrim through this barren land. I am weak, but thou art mighty. Hold me with thy powerful hand. Bread of heaven, feed me till I want no more. Bread of heaven, feed me till I want no more. Open while the crystal fountain, whence the healing waters flow. Let the fiery, cloudy pillar lead me all my journey through. Strong deliverer, be thou still my strength and shield. Strong deliverer, be thou still my strength and shield. When I tread the verge of Jordan, bid my anxious fears subside. Bear me through the swelling current, land me safe on Canaan's side. Strong songs of praises I will ever give to thee. Songs of praises I will ever give to thee. Along with that one, is, and hello, Sister T, is this one where I heard the voice of Jesus say, which is a really pretty song. I heard the voice of Jesus say, come unto me and rest. Lay down, thou weary one, lay down thy head upon my breast. I came to Jesus as I was, weary and worn and sad. I found in him a resting place, and he has made me glad. I heard the voice of Jesus say, behold, I freely give the living water. Thirsty ones stoop down and drink and live. I came to Jesus and I drank of that life-giving stream. My thirst was quenched, my soul revived, and now I live with him. I heard the voice of Jesus say, I am this dark world's light. Look unto me, thy morn shall rise, and all thy day be bright. I looked to Jesus, and I found in him my star, my sun. And in that light of life I'll walk till traveling days are done. Can you figure the theme I'm structuring towards? Perhaps, perhaps not. I was asked a question that I know we've answered on a stream before, and I know we've dealt with a couple of times in our morning devotion, but it's always good to go back and to revisit this one because a lot of people don't understand the difference between these three terms in especially as they are used within the scriptures. And the question is regarding the difference between knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And if you noticed, the songs that I led were all about the Word of God and His leadership. For instance, we had "Walk with Me, walk with me, lest mine eyes no longer see all Thy glory, and talk with me, talk with me." Uh, then we talked about "Break Thou the bread of life," as we sang about that. Moving on, we talked. We sang about how shall the young secure their hearts. What was that one? I think we did one before, right before that one. Nope. Okay, it was. How shall we the young secure their hearts? To which the answer, of course, is God's word. And we then went over to, guide me, O thou great Jehovah. And we then just finished off with number 389. I heard the voice of Jesus say, "What is the difference between wisdom, knowledge, and understanding?" Proverbs chapter 1, Alicia, if you would take us there, please. We're going to we're going to begin in verse 1. Solomon, a wise man, you got to get the right one, my dear. Thank you. There we go. Hello, O'Shea. Solomon says, the wise man Solomon, the wise king, the wisest man on earth. No, I said Proverbs 1. records for us this: the Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to understand the words of insight, to receive instruction in wise dealing, in righteousness, justice, and equity, to give prudence to the simple, knowledge and discretion to the youth. Let the wise hear and increase in learning, and the one who understands obtain guidance. To understand a proverb and a saying, the words of the wise and their riddles. The fear of the Lord, verse 7, is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Over and over again, he utilizes the words knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And he points out that these things are learned. You can be instructed in wisdom, you can be instructed in knowledge, you can be instructed in understanding and discretion. They all share that characteristic. But what is the difference between these words? The concepts that they share. The best way to look at it is to look at how they relate to us in our present day and age. Oftentimes you may hear, and I do this quite often as a bus driver. I get to call upon a lot of experience um, driving kids on the bus. But I will ask the kids, "What did you learn today?" And the kid may rattle off something. For example, something we all know and understand. And well, we all know. How about 1 plus 1 equals 2? And me being the type of bus driver I am, will ask them, why? What do you mean? Why does 1 plus 1 equals 2? Or they'll say something like, did you know that that water comes from the sky and falls on the ground and goes back to the sky? I'll ask and I'll say, well, that's pretty cool. How does that happen? And they won't be able to tell me. Why? What is this demonstrating? What have they just demonstrated to me? No understanding. Okay, that's right. They have no understanding. Do they have wisdom? They don't understand what they're saying. Sam says simple is here. A hand and there. On the other hand, if you follow the count, you see answer by experience. Now, you say I have two. I say I have 11. One and one equals 11, Sam. Sam says knowledge without showing how. You see, and Teresa says no wisdom. Um, Alicia, send me out my concordance, would you? Bring me out my concordance. One of the two. Concordance. What they demonstrate. Good evening, Heather. We are discussing the difference between knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. What is the difference? And the question that I put forward is that a child, or example I put forward is a child. That's the dictionary, Alicia. Sam says fingers are different than wild hands, Levi. Really? Still 11. Um, a child will say, on the bus, a child will tell me something such as 1 plus 1 is 2, but won't be able to tell me why. I don't know. Or they'll tell me, did you know that water comes from the sky and it goes on the ground and then it goes back to the sky? But they won't be able to tell me why or how that happens. What are they demonstrating? And Sam says knowledge, or was it Sam or was it Maureen? I need to scroll back up. Knowledge without showing how. Is what Sam says. How many ones are on the paper, Sam? So What are they demonstrating? They're demonstrating that they have knowledge. Do they have understanding? Maureen made the point that they have knowledge without understanding. Do they have wisdom? Well, not really, do they? That knowledge does them no good. O'Shea says, in general sense, knowledge is knowing something like a fact. Understanding is the capability of knowing why that fact is that fact or why it does what it does. Wisdom is the combination of you using both the understanding of and the knowledge to apply it properly and being able to teach them. Without knowledge or understanding, you cannot have wisdom. Teresa says, sometimes a child knows more than we, or at least they think so. In some cases, they actually do. And O'Shea says they're demonstrating knowledge but without understanding. Sam says, I can't answer that. The paper too small on the phone. If you were to sit down and write out the number 11, how many ones would you have? And the answer would be 2. Teresa said, when you had your 2 fingers up, it did look like 11. So 1 plus 1 is 11. Yeah, that's called new math. Anyway, it always makes you wonder who it is that arbitrarily decided that 1 plus 1 equals 2 and not 3. Anyhow, that's called philosophy, by the way. So we understand that knowledge is knowing a fact. For example, Psalm 8 and verse 8, which is the whole reason I had Alicia send out my concordance. Psalm 8 and verse 8. The birds of the heaven and the fish of the sea, whatever passes along the paths of the sea. Now, if we were back up and get the full sentence, that'd be nice, which I didn't have earlier. So let's go back up till I tell you to stop. Right there, verse 6. You have given him dominion over the works of your hands. You have put all things under his feet, all sheep and oxen, and also the beasts of the field, and the field, the birds of the heavens, the fish of the sea, and whatever passes along the paths of the sea. And of course, this is talking about man and how God made man a little bit lower than the angels, verse 5, and has crowned him with glory and honor. And for generations and generations, for hundreds of generations, Sailors sailed the sea without understanding, without without this knowledge or understanding of the paths of the sea. In fact, it wasn't until was it last century? I believe it was last century, in the early 1900s or late 1800s, that one who is known as the father of oceanography, as he was lying sick in his bed, happened to be reading this particular passage, and he wasn't a very religious man, but due to having nothing else to read and uh, he being very ill, he kind of ended up turning religious and um, finding the Bible. He ended up, as I recall the account, he ended up reading Psalm 8:8, and it struck him that it said talked about paths of the sea, and he set about to find them to figure out what it was talking about. And looking over, poring over maps and over poring over maps and actually going out and sailing, he was able to find the currents within the ocean and map them, which allowed him to, well, it wasn't just over maps, but it was over what small maps he had of lands, as well as what logs that captains had. That he was able to lay his hands on, ship captains, etc. And he was able to discover these currents and thus find the paths of the sea that gave them the knowledge needed to unlock something else, which was understanding. You see, knowledge is useless in and of itself. If I just have knowledge, it does me no good. It's just an empty, useless fact. It isn't until I understand how that fact applies to the world, to my world, how it interacts with things around me, that I gain understanding, that it becomes useful to me. So as we look at a fact and we begin and we understand, we learn, are instructed in how this applies. For example, let's take the cycle of water, the water cycle. Water descends from the clouds to the land, wherein it filters through the soil. Some of it gets taken up into plants, some of it just filters down to the water table. Water table flows to the sea, through the rivers, where water, as it comes to the surface, is then heated by the sun or utilized by the plants and given off in a vapor. And as it then is evaporated, it rises through the air until it cools, condenses, becomes clouds, till it reaches a certain point, at which point in time it then descends again as either water, snow, ice to refresh the land. Now, having that understanding, it becomes useful. How I then take that fact and in my understanding of how it operates, how it impacts and interacts with the world around me, I then make use of it. As I make use of it, I may make mistakes in my use of it. Through my experimentation, through my actual um, just flat out usage of it, I may make mistakes and discoveries. And as I then put this knowledge and understanding to use, not only do I increase my knowledge and my understanding, but I gain wisdom, as O'Shea pointed out, is the practical usage of the knowledge and understanding. Sam's got his eyes on now. See? 1 and 1 equals 11. 1 and 1, 11. So 1, where's my pencil? 1 plus 1 equals 11. Going back to our passage here, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom or of knowledge in Proverbs 1 and verse 7. What we come to understand then, what we come to know is that proper reverence for God, treating God in the proper manner, holding Him in the proper manner, is the first step to knowledge. Yet, Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7, wrong order, my dear. Thank you. Goes on, doesn't stop there saying the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. It also continues by saying fools despise wisdom and instruction. You see, instruction is what teaches us understanding. Instruction is what teaches us wisdom. And Solomon, up to this point, has said that these proverbs serve a purpose. Verse 2, to know wisdom and instruction. To know wisdom, to know instruction. To perceive words of understanding. Verse 2. Alicia, please stay up with me. Or words of insight. The Proverbs give us instruction in wise, verse 3, in wise dealing or in wisdom, in righteousness, in justice, in equity. That's the purpose of these Proverbs, to teach us or to give us instruction in wise dealing, in our dealings, to instruct us in what is wise, how to deal with people in a wise way, how to live or deal in righteousness, how to be just in our dealings, how to be equal in our dealings. And that gives us prudence or subtlety to the simple, knowledge to the young man, and discretion. But rather, knowledge and discretion to the young man. In Proverbs chapter, where'd you go? Proverbs chapter 8, verse 13. No, Proverbs chapter 9, verse 10, rather. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. The knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. It's insight. So if the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, it's a fact. It's the source of knowledge, is what Solomon is saying. If the fear of the Lord is the source of knowledge, and knowledge is of God, of the Holy One, is understanding, then the source of understanding is the fear of the Lord. Stupid Asian beetles. And he goes on to say here in verse 10, the fear of the Lord is also the source of wisdom. Wisdom itself, again, is the experience in application the experience we gain in applying our understanding of knowledge, our understanding of what we know. When we apply our understanding of the paths of the sea, we are able to take our ship by the shortest route, the easiest route, the um, most conducive route that prevents our ship from breaking up. And remember, this was done during the days of the sailing ships, not of the motorized ships. But even then, the motorized ships still also benefit from these paths. But we're able to take our ships from America to Europe or to Japan or to South America or Africa because of these currents without loss of time due to um, due to calm sea. Because even when there is no wind, the currents are still moving the ship in the direction that we want to go. And that is wisdom. Wisdom applying our understanding of the principles of the paths of the sea. O'Shea and I, and Sam, even many of us that garden or farm understand the water cycle, and we use it to our benefit every year as we strive to grow crops. And we make use of science to increase our yields, whether we're doing it through amending the soil or through pest control, through crop rotation, through soil pH balance. You see, there's so many different ways that we take knowledge, take science, and understand it and apply it to the world around us so that we have that dominion that Psalm 8 was talking about. So, knowledge is just simply a fact. A fact. There is an earth that we live on full of a variety of life, which has cycles. And these life cycles support other life cycles. which support other life cycles. And it all didn't just happen by chance, because mathematically that's impossible. Science, the Greek word science, meaning simply to know. It's a journey of discovery, of hypothesizing, theorizing, working your theory, turning it into a hypothesis, eventually turning it into a fact, taking that fact, understanding it, how it applies to the world around us. Understanding is looking at that fact and saying, okay, I can see how this applies in this situation, in that situation, and in this one over here. And and if I change it in here, it's going to affect this and that in this way or that way. Understanding then is taking that fact and examining it in real life situation and coming to know how it operates, why it does what it does. And then wisdom is experiencing the application of our understanding of our knowledge, putting our knowledge to use, putting our understanding of our knowledge to use, learning, growing, and finding what works, what doesn't work, keeping what does, removing what doesn't. Solomon said, the source of knowledge, the beginning of knowledge is the fear of the Lord. The beginning of instruction, of understanding is the fear of the Lord, the knowledge of the Holy One. The beginning of wisdom, guess what? It also is the fear of the Lord. Hopefully, prayerfully, that has encouraged you, edified you, and brought a deeper understanding of these three terms and how they apply to our lives. Any questions or comments? Yes, Sam, it does show where we can get knowledge and obeying and putting it into practice. Good point. Psalm 111, that's either 1 and 11, verse 10, which I think it is. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. All those who practice it have good understanding. His praise endures. We can go through life knowing something and never making use of it, and it will never do us a bit of good. We can go through life knowing something and understanding how it works, how it applies, but never using it, and it'll do us no good. Or we can go through life knowing something, understanding it, and having the wisdom to know when to use it, how to use it, where to use it, and then use it in those instances. and it will benefit us. Knowledge is only beneficial when it's used. Otherwise, it's useless. Not worthless, useless. Big difference. Knowledge is powerless if it's never used. They say knowledge is power, and that is true, but only if it is ever used. Otherwise, it's never. Otherwise, it's powerless. You're welcome. And hopefully, as I said, prayerfully, you have been edifying to a greater and closer service to God. That way, whether we wake tomorrow to serve God here on this earth, or we wake tomorrow to serve God up there where we all long to be, you know where I'll have the privilege, the pleasure, the honor of being. For I'll see you then. God bless you. Walk with Him. I love you all. Good night.